Hi everybody. I decided to make a video talking about my next project that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be making some masks, and I'm going to be doing it a little differently than what I've done before. As you can see here, I've laid out all the many skulls that I have. I started pulling out a couple of them for this video, and then I thought, oh, I actually do have a whole lot. Why don't I just lay them all out? So here they all are. And the only one, actually I should clarify, the only one I don't own is this full-size skull right here. I actually was able to check that out at the library. Lucky me. So, and this is actually the one I'm going to be using right now. I wanted to lay these out and talk about these in a second. But my plan is, that I'm really interested in trying, is I'm going to take a mold of the front of the skull here, and I'm going to cast it in clay, and that's going to be my sculpting base when I sculpt the face. And so instead of just starting off with a mound of clay, I thought I'm going to have the bone structure underneath so I can lay all the muscles and everything, and everything is already in proportion, and not only will it be easier, but I think that the final product will look a lot better. And so I'm going to be getting to that later today, but I thought I'd talk a little bit about what I have here. So, for anyone who's interested in proportion, so what I have out here, right here, for the most part of what I've sculpted, like when it comes to figures and faces and skulls, is 1/6 scale, which is generally for a 12-inch figure, and that's what these things are right here. So, you know, what it means for scale, it means for proportion, is when you hear, you know, 1/2, 1/4, 1/6, whatever, it's always 1/6 of what the original is, and it could be anything. You know, it could be once, you know, for generally speaking, to keep things as uncomplicated as possible when you're talking about the human figure, generally 1/6 scale, which is what these are for 12-inch figures. Now, you know, people are naturally, you know, taller and shorter. Whoop, the mosquito in here. So for these, it would be for a figure, a person that was 6 feet tall. So when you scale that down to 1/6, it makes it about 12 inches tall. And so I got these models off of eBay. I think they came from Anatomy Tools. I think that was the seller. Pretty good quality. Let me zoom in on if you guys want to look at them. The price was not too bad. They are just cast in resin. The arms don't come off. It's not. They have a version, another series of these models where the arms, there's magnets here, and the arms can come off, and you can take them off and look at them. These don't have it though. The heads don't come off either. But that's the male figure, and then we have the female figure over here. Same with her. Her head doesn't come off or anything. Let's turn it around. And then what I have next is, mostly what I have is skulls and skeletons, lots of skulls and skeletons. So this one right here I actually made myself, and this is a resin cast of a little sculpey skull that I made, along with a rib cage and a pelvis. Okay. And the reason I made those is I wanted to make something for myself that's a little bit more detailed to work with when it comes to an armature, a little more detailed version of what Trueform makes, which is this right here. I know I'm skipping ahead, but that's what this thing is. This is a foam skeleton armature that you put clay on top of. Instead of just making one out of wire, which you could make yourself, this saves a lot of time and a lot of thinking. So let me just go back to what I was talking about before. So this is also 1/6 scale right here, all these pieces. Now, this guy who's got his face popped off. So this is a little, I guess you'd call it a puzzle, a little anatomy puzzle skeleton that I also got on eBay. And it comes, you know, his face pops off because, you know, the idea is that you can take it apart and put it back together. And so, you know, he has, you know, these pieces all pop off. And his rib cage is somewhere, I'm not sure where it is right now. But these are all little bones, and it came with a little stand that he hangs on. And then there's another seller on eBay, and I don't remember the name of the seller's name. If anybody wants to know, I'll just message me and I'll tell you. I'll look it up. This is a resin kit, and what that means is that they cast the piece and they didn't clean it up. So that's why he's got a little bony mole right there that was left over from the casting process. And then this is a skeleton. These pieces over here for this one. See what I mean about how it's not cleaned up? There's still some flashing and there's still some pieces left over. I haven't gotten around to cleaning up yet, but this one actually is a much better quality and just overall better looking skeleton than this guy. So, moving on. Oh, so let's get back to this one. So this, all these right here are 1/6 scale. This one goes up to 1/4 scale. This is for an 18-inch figure. Right here. And these are really for oil clay or wax. The point is, because this is foam, this is not something that you could put Sculpey on or bake in the oven or get hot at all. And you can use air dry clay, paper mache, what have you. Okay, and then of course we have the full-size, life-size skull right there. And then this skull I have right here, I actually got this from Spirit Halloween store. And I got it after Halloween. They were having their after Halloween sale, so everything was like really marked down. So I think I got it for like $1. And as far as Halloween decorations go, this is actually not a bad looking skull. Usually when you see Halloween props of skulls, their faces, I mean the skull is just all completely wrong. You know, the face is always too fat, you know, the eye sockets look weird, and you know, the teeth number is never right. But this one's actually pretty, this one's not bad. Not bad for $1. This one right here I also got from eBay, and it was from, this one came from Anatomy Tools as well. And these right here both could be considered half size. This one's a little bit more, this one's kind of small. This one's a little bit more closer to half size. And that'd be for a 36-inch figure. This one could be like a female skull, and this one could be like a male skull. But that's what this is. And this actually is really good quality as well. And the jaw does open, and you can remove the jaw. This one, jaw doesn't open. This one does, and the skull, you know, comes off. And then this would be for full size for a 72. Sorry, mosquitoes. A full size skeleton. 6 feet or 72 inches tall. So I'm not going to be using any of these. I just want to show you guys. You know, I just want to talk a little bit about that. So this right here, this is. So I got this out and I was thinking about how I want to do this. So when you think about how big you're going to sculpt your mask, it needs to be a little bit bigger than what you want it to be. And what I mean is you have to account, I really want to start thinking about this before I start making it, because you have to account for the thickness of the resin when you're going and slush casting it. I made a couple of resin masks before, and there was a couple where it's like I didn't mean to, at first I didn't mean to make the resin, make the wall of the mask so thick, but now I think I like it that way. I think it makes for a better quality and overall much more durable mask. So I think it was probably about 1/8 of an inch thick, which is pretty good. You have to take into account for the thickness of your casted mask, and then also any padding you want on the inside. So I have some of this. This is probably what I'll end up using. This is just some felt I got from Hobby Lobby. And while it's not really that thick, you still need to keep it to account, because if you don't, and then you go and you try to put this mask on with it being casted and having all the padding and everything, it's going to be kind of tight on the face, which I don't want. One thing I was concerned about was the skull. When I went to measure it, it's actually really small. You know, it is life size, but it's definitely a female skull. You know, and so I was a little concerned about working on something that was so small. When I go and sculpt on top of it, I figured, oh, you know, I don't want to have to bulk it out too much, because that would kind of defeat the whole purpose of having this skull underneath. But, you know, thinking about it, I'd rather have something that was a little too small than a little too big. So I think it'll be okay. And so I have, so like when you go to the store and any craft store and you pick up the blank masquerade masks that they have, those usually are kind of one size fits all. I think that, personally, I think that they run a little small in the face, and I do have one right here. This is probably the average one you might come across. And so when I wear it, it fits me, but it seems like it's it's like a couple of hairs too small. And I have actually a pretty small head and pretty small face. So I think for a petite woman could definitely wear it no problem. Anybody bigger than that, a man, it's going to just look kind of weird. And I notice that when I go and I put the mask pretty much right over the skull, it's pretty much a good fit. So that tells me right there, this skull right here is definitely going to be appropriate for a female mask. So I'm going to take some silicone, and I'm going to use some clay to kind of push in here, because I don't want to brush it all the inside. I don't want to get any crevices I don't need to, like this right here and this right here. And then I'm probably only going to do about to the line right here. This hole right here, that's the ear canal. And so when you put a mask on, you really don't want it to go all the way touching the ears. You want it to kind of stop probably about, I'd say probably about right there. So I'm going to figure out my lines, and then I'm going to block this area off. I'm probably going to use some foam board. And then I'm going to mix up my silicone and start brushing it on. And I'll make a video for that too, so you guys can watch me do it. Messing with silicone, that is something I've done before. So we'll mix that up, and then we'll go from there. Hope you guys enjoyed all my ramblings. Thanks. I'll be posting another video here in just a bit. I'm going to get all the silicone and stuff ready, and I'll talk to you guys through about what I'm doing and why I'm doing what I'm doing, so it'll kind of make sense. So I'll be getting to that pretty soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.